Monad Shoal again? I hear you ask. Well, yes actually. You see, Monad Shoal is huge. It's roughly about the same size as Malapascua Island, but obviously underwater, and there's plenty of space to be able to distinguish different dive sites there. For example, there is the old site where Manta Point and Shark Point is located. There's the TSD site where Thresher Shark Divers has mooring buoys, and the new site where you'll see the floating flotilla of dive boats every morning, and where Siobhan and I had the most brilliant dive to win the #1 Dive Site award in this film. This bit of footage, by the way, was filmed at Shark Point in April 2008 on my old Z1 camera. I've put it in here to help explain our affinity for thresher sharks and why they are worthy of our #1 spot. My first thresher shark sighting was here at Monad Shoal in May 2004. It was rubbish conditions with very low vis, and all I saw was half a shadow on the edge of visibility. Even so, I knew I had seen a very special creature. In April 2008 I got this great footage when diving with my mate Wolfie and doing some filming for Dan's Dives. With my admiration for the thresher shark ever increasing, especially as I'd made a few quid from selling this footage, I was to experience a different side to the thresher shark behaviour: hunting, while using its huge tail. In 2010, an enormous school of sardines had taken up residence on Pescador Island near Moboal. There were literally billions of fish, and eventually the thresher sharks started to come up from the deep to feed on them. From February all the way through to the end of June, when I had to return to the UK, I wanted to be nowhere else more than to be hanging out with a twin set of 32% nitrox on Pescador Island. It was spellbinding. I spent hours and hours and hours waiting at about 20 metres or so on a section of the island I had nicknamed the Gallery. Sometimes you'd just get a glimpse of a shark as it swam by, sometimes there would be 3 or 4 sharks coming to eye up the sardines. But needless to say, the shot I wanted was of the shark using its tail to stun the sardines and then casually swim around to gobble up the unconscious or dead fish. I was lucky enough to see and film the sharks whip their tails a few times, but the most memorable one was this clip now. Today is June the 14th and Gloria Arroyo, the former president of the Philippines, is less than 20 metres away from me watching this very shark. The shark circled around for a short while, then put on a bit of pace, and whack! That's why the tail of a thresher shark is as long as it is, and why the pectoral fins are big enough to act as a brake. I did actually get better footage of the shark whipping action, and if you're interested in buying it, please email me at tony@txlunderwatervideo.com. I know, shameless plug, but it's my video and I'll do what I like. Thank you. Moving back to Monad Shoal, and the day we did our #1 dive of the year. It's the 23rd of June, and we've been diving in Malapascua for 11 days, and today was the very last day of diving on Monad Shoal before we left to return to Cebu. We are now at the area of Monad Shoal now known as the new site. The thresher sharks more commonly come up from the deep in the early morning for cleaning, and the dive shops on Malapascua bring their divers to the shoal between 4:30 and 5:30 am. We have purposely delayed getting to the dive site until about 6:30 am, so all the divers have left and we have the place to ourselves. If you remember from the film of our #12 favourite dive site, which was the TSD site on Monad Shoal, this is where the divers were just draped over the reef. Siobhan is pointing out the damage being done by divers, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out this is not good. But I want this film to be a celebration of the thresher shark, and not about those who threaten its environment. So that's the end of my sniping at incompetent divers and disgraceful behaviour by the dive shops. So what makes this dive so special over all the other fantastic dives we have done in the last 6 months? Well, to be honest, I can't explain this in one word or even one sentence. It's a collection of actions and feelings that, when thrown together, form what I call a life memory moment, an experience that you know you will remember for the rest of your life. You have seen from our previous encounters, we have seen plenty of thresher sharks up close and personal, being cleaned or hunting sardines on Monad Shoal and Pescador Island. But today earned a place in our memories forever because everything is perfect. We have our own dive boat and we don't have to worry about others waiting for us. We have plenty of 32% nitrox in our twin tanks. We can accelerate our decompression time with our 100% oxygen deco tanks. The visibility is much better from days before. It's a bit later in the morning, so the light has improved significantly. But most of all, it's just us. Just me and Siobhan, and a bunch of thresher sharks going about their normal ways, not giving one iota of interest towards us. Perfect. By no stretch of the imagination am I claiming the quality of my filming or even my post-production skills in editing this film are perfect. In my defence, the sky was still quite dark and it was impossible to white balance my camera with the colour correction filter at this depth, which right now is about 26 metres. But if you forget about the lack of colour and grainy picture, I hope you get a feeling of how it was for us on this dive. Time and time again, a shark would come in for cleaning at the multiple cleaning stations dotted along the reef, and would swim round slowly and present itself to the crescent wrasse and cleaner wrasse to pick off parasites from its gills and more private parts of its anatomy. While I was filming the last shark you saw, Siobhan had been watching this thresher swimming around for at least 3 minutes before I came over. This clip has been speeded up by 500%, otherwise the film will get a bit long. After I filmed this, the shark did in fact continue to circle around at a shallower depth, but I couldn't film it because of the sun. No sooner had I finished filming that shark, Siobhan had moved a bit north and was watching another shark. It's times like these that I know I am one of the luckiest men around, having Siobhan as my girlfriend. She's my dive mate and my best friend, and I know whenever I point the camera in her direction, she's doing the right thing. The sharks keep appearing out of the deep blue and gently swim near us. We've been underwater for about 45 minutes now, and what I've shown you here is the best of my footage, but we did in fact have sight of the threshers for most of the dive. This new dive site has proved to be exceptional, but I'm convinced there are other points around Monad Shoal and surrounding areas where the sharks will also visit for cleaning. If only I had my own boat and compressor. We have absolutely no idea how many thresher sharks we saw on that dive, but really it doesn't matter. What matters is that it was our experience and we will treasure it forever. Yes, love. Time to go up. If you'd like to see more of our videos, please feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube or like us on Facebook.